I think the biggest tip that I could give somebody, no matter where you're at, no matter what it is you're trying to do, would be to just start. You know, version done's better than version none, always, always. You know, and there's so many different perspectives on this kind of stuff, but like for me, I would say, you know, that you have to one believe it. And how do you have a belief in something? You have to have a belief in something based off your experience with it. And for like barndominiums, it's something that was always like a passion of mine. It's something that I wanted for my family. You know, and I've told the story about, you know, my dad and his business partner. They'd built this Barndo that was kind of happenstance. They built a building and then they later turned it into this. And actually, my dad's partner lived in it for a period of time. And I always thought it was fascinating. It was just a really cool place to go. And it was on Lake Murray. You know, you go down there and it's a big 50 by 100-foot steel red iron building. And they just kind of converted it into different uses over time. And then it became like this lodge. And it forever stuck out to me as like, I want to do that one day. And so I think that if you'd asked me 3 years ago or 10 years ago, hey, do you envision yourself as being some like barndominium person, expert? Absolutely not. I was just a normal person who liked them. And so when the opportunity came, like I think my own personal interest in it was piqued because it kind of fits into what my background was. You know, I grew up in construction. I own a real estate company. It checked a lot of the boxes of things that I had skills in. But more so, it was just something I was passionate about. Again, as a consumer, I wanted this for myself. And so when we started this, it just kind of was naturally something I was curious about. And then I'd had some experiences with leadership and business to where I was able to create environments and grow product lines. And, you know, there was a point in time not that long ago where I was traveling the country, developing products for construction niches, like inside the insulation industry, the house wrap industry, like roofing industry. And I was in such a weird product environment that like the products that I was selling are not stuff that you would see as a consumer. It was literally to the installers. And I remember creating these ideas and products and creating the environment, how we could manufacture them, and then creating the distribution process for getting that product out to market. And a lot of it was just grassroots, going and meeting people. And it was like the foundational years of me becoming who I am. Just walking into businesses all across the country, from the mountains of Colorado to, the plains of Texas, and just walking in and introducing myself and trying to convince someone that I could deliver on a product. And it built something in me that like, forever, I kind of wanted to be the best salesperson on the planet Earth. And I consider myself to be that person. And that was it. But another piece was happening in there where I had to learn how to market those products, right? Like, why would someone come to me? It's absolutely exhausting to go to them all the time. And so over time, I started building processes for like how to market and all these things. And I think the one central thing inside of that success was I was always willing to do the work. And I think you get in environments where everyone wants the reward, few want the work, right? And so if you're starting something or you own a business and you've owned it for the last 25 years, but you know that there's just more there and there's a capability to be there, that there's one thing that you have to get real with, and that is, what is your own personal level of belief in what you're doing? And the way that I did that was I sat down and I just kind of wrote out what the dream was. Hey, barndominiums, how passionate am I about it? I want to buy one, right? Like, I want to build this. I want this. And so, like, it's definitely something I was passionate about. But then, like, what do I want it to look like? And I can remember sitting down with notebook paper and just drawing out these ideas on paper of what I wanted it to be like. And I remember one of the first, instances was I was like, we're going to become the D.R. Horton of barndominiums. And you could interpret that a million different ways, but the way it was coming out of my brain was I want to be known as the company. When someone thinks of this, our brand and our name and our reputation is synonymous with the product. And so that's what we set out to do. And I knew that in order to do that, it was way bigger than just TJ. It was way bigger than TJ and Ross. It was going to require a team. It was going to require a lot of hard work, a big vision. And I think sometimes as entrepreneurs, we limit the vision to our own skill sets. And that's why you find people that are in these environments and they're working at the maximum limitations of themselves. And they themselves are very high performing individuals. So they're successful, right? They're financially independent. They're able to do a lot of work, but they're also under a lot of stress because they're trying to do everything themselves. And they never quite learned how to transfer the workload. And that's something that I struggled with as well. But the difference was I've always been very trusting in that people could do it. I've never looked at myself and been like, what I'm doing is special. And we just recently read a book called Beyond the Hammer. And our COO had a relationship with the author and got to go up and spend some time with him and stuff. And, you know, he gave me a copy of this book and I'm just kind of reading through it. And there's 5 pillars that the author outlines in the book. And the first one is belief is transferable. It's a great book. You should read it. Guy built an incredible company and exited that company. But one of the things in there is like belief is transferable. And I feel like I could have written that chapter and that pillar myself. Because there's one thing that I learned a long time ago was that when I shifted from trying to sell a product to just trying to sell a vision, things started happening that were more powerful than my own ability. And so that in and of itself, I think is the secret to success in anything you're doing. Is the vision big enough to support the dream that you have? And if it's not, right, if it's not something where you get excited about the vision, how could you expect anyone else to?